Da, 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 da. Oh, I'm sharing the wrong thing. Let me switch. Did not mean to share this. Oh, 1 second. There we go. Am I still streaming? I think I am. All right. Good morning, everybody. It is the first day of liberation. Market. The Nasdaq is going to zero is the title of the video. Nasdaq is going to zero. And I don't actually mean that. It's just kind of what I say when the market goes down. This is, I don't know if it's definitely not one of the biggest gaps I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen limit down gaps, but this absolutely yesterday was the biggest after hours move I've ever. I don't even know if there's a bigger one. I'm sure there is at some point in history, but I'm talking from the 4 o'clock close to that 5 o'clock close. I have never in my whole life seen a bigger move than that, point wise. At least there's absolutely no bigger point move. I don't know about percentage terms, but historical times. Historical times. There's a lot to go over here this morning. And yesterday, we ended up trading this full halfway back long at open. And our reversal in the afternoon was from that target. And there was that was a great trading opportunity, shorts from that target. And then there was an extension that was a same anchor new high. If you guys remember, it was from like the 1 minute time frame, but basically, I'm not going to go down to it. The extension target was also the high. So it was interesting yesterday, both of our highs, they weren't short setups. They were extension targets or traditional targets. They were not short setups, which really, when they're not technically short setups, it takes out a lot of the longs. And then I guess the market must have been surprised by what Mr. Trump said, and we went straight down in one of the biggest moves I've ever seen. But still, that daily chart, guys, we've been talking about this, and it just hasn't been the most technical move down. It's been extremely volatile. If we had held the halfway back from yesterday's high to low, that would have been extremely technical. But all it is extremely volatile. We've been talking about this downside target now for 6-7 days at 18,478, and it does look like that is still on the table unless we break this 61 up at 20,870, which I don't think is happening anytime soon. Just gonna get rid of some of these. But one of the things I do want to pay attention to here today, and even though we broke the full 50% retracement short, I still want to be aware of where the target is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, last week's high to this week's low. And be aware that's going to be my discount level today. It's 18,608. We also have the possibility of a limit down scenario, which is going to be 7%. I don't think we're going past that. I don't think it's that crazy. You have it's tariffs. It's not a nuclear bomb. No, I think if China did something crazy, like shut down Apple or something, that'd be different. But yeah, so that's going to be probably as low as I think we would go today. Another interesting note is in the overnight session, my anticipation where we eventually come down to is around 17,700, and it very well could be lower than that, but that is the first even valid sequence I see below us, and that goes back to an extension that existed from 2023. It held in 2023, traded up in 2 targets, that same anchor new high, arguably traded its 38, never completed targets. I'm adjusting to the new high. That 50% retracement is 17,700. But I also wouldn't be surprised to see us actually retest closer to 17,000. So anywhere between 17,000 to 17,700, that would be such an incredibly great liquidity sweep at 17,000. We would be back at the highs of 2023. We would take out that mid 2023 low. We'd take out, or 2024, I should say, and then we would take out the low from August. So I think between here and here is where we eventually bottom. And if we don't, then we're going halfway back from lows probably. This market, or at least from 2008, I would bet we go halfway back from 2008 if we do not hold that. Anyway, that's quite a bit a ways away, and what we're looking at as we go into the day, this is going to be one of those. I mean, the moves are so violent and so big. I don't even want to really begin guessing where I think these fibs are going to set up, because there's not necessarily a clean sequence. I can try to find it on the 1 minute, but this bar, let's see here, 600 points. Actually, I think that's the biggest 5-minute bar I've ever seen. There was some big ones for off CPI numbers like post-COVID, but I don't think I've ever seen a 600 point 5-minute bar ever. So trying to find the anchor in here, I mean, it is possible, but let's see. Let's use this low, 627 to low. You could argue it kind of lines up that 38 there. And then I actually thought there was an anchor here. The only one I really saw was this one from 432, because we traded it here and here. And that same anchor new low, I think it broke at 61.8. And we basically got back to, you know, the gap filled on the high. But let me see here. Yeah, I'm just going to frame the entire day here off of this overnight range. We basically got all the way back up to the lower mid. It's really interesting how that continues to play out, and we've sold off from that. So I'm just going to start today's overnight session with a halfway back short from highs and just see what happens if and when we get up there. And that's going to be in 19,003. This 5 minute, this 1 minute ATR is 27 points right now. So I'm sure Perry told you you're gonna have to size down today or not trade at all. This is just one of those days that's absolutely wild. Now, if we can get down to that discount level today, or maybe even the higher time frame profit target, I think I'll be looking for a trade setup. But right here, it's kind of just a giant no man's land for me. I do believe at some point in time, the 50% retracement that broke this one right here at the end of the day, that was such a trap. Unbelievable. Sweep of shorts, and then an absolute dive. This will come into play again. I don't think it's coming into play again today, but we're going to use that 50% and draw it to whatever low ends up being. That will be a setup when it happens. So that's what I'm going to be looking at in the NQ. And then for the ES, this is one of those moves that the moves are so long or so big that like your chart starts looking weird. Your chart starts getting all screwed up. Alright, moving on to the S&P. Downside targets are going to be 54.29. Also could trade today. Maybe we move into daily extensions from there. But anyway, yesterday we ended up jamming back into the full 38% retracement of the short from highs and then just collapse. Absolute collapse. downside target. I just have that higher time frame one at 54.29, and I'm going to do the same thing for the NQ and just draw the halfway back short from highs and see what's going on there. Those are really going to be the only levels. I basically need to completely ignore that end of day price action until we get to it and just pay attention to these halfway back shorts and see if there's some action there. But that's really all I have. I mean, it's going to be an absolutely nutty session. Be careful, pick your spots, be patient, and try not to overtrade it. So I'll see you guys in the room.